Welcome to All in Adams, the official podcast of Adams County government, where we're all in for our residents, our employees, and our community. So whether you live here, work here, or you just want to know more about what makes Adams County a great place to be, thanks for tuning in. We're all in, Adams.
Hi there, and thank you for joining us. I'm Julie Jackson, a communications supervisor here at Adams County. I'm here with Maritza Orozco-Reyes from the Adams County Health Department, also known as ACHD, because we're government, we like acronyms. And in honor of November as National Diabetes Awareness Month, we are dedicating two podcasts to two great programs that ACHD offers that focus on diabetes. So the first one was Journey to Wellness, which was about prevention, or is about prevention. We discussed that on last week's episode, so be sure to check that out. And the second program, the focus of today's podcast, is diabetes management. So Maritza, thank you again for joining us today. It's a really important topic for us to, talk about. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit more about living with diabetes? And I think it's called the longer version, Diabetes Self-Management Education and Support Program.
Thank you, Julie. Thanks for having me here. So I'm with the Diabetes Education and Prevention Program. And the second program that we were offering is Diabetes Self-Management and Empowerment and Support Group. It's just anybody who's living with diabetes or somebody who's a caretaker of somebody who has diabetes. And we really focus on those lifestyle changes in management with primarily type 1 diabetes. We do see people with type 2 diabetes, and we do see people with type 1 or gestational diabetes.
Okay, interesting. And interesting that you say gestational, because the reason I'm taking the prevention course is because I had gestational diabetes. And so I know I'm at higher risk. So
correct.
And so why do you think it's really important to have this class?
Quite a few reasons, right? The first one is to make sure that you are managing diabetes well. The second one is education changes over time. And third one is to have support. Support's going to be a big deal.
Yeah. And talking about that support, the class provides support for ongoing daily management. Why is that so important for Adams County residents who are either caring for someone with diabetes or who have diabetes?
Well, I feel like a lot of times people can kind of lose track of their management, right? And especially when they don't have the support, they don't know where to go to. So here at Adams County, we do offer classes at no charge, great for part of our grant funded. So that's really good. And they just have support when they need it, right? And so a lot of times this education is not being offered by their provider. They don't have the time to spend an hour, 2 hours, and this is what it is. It's an 8-hour course or 8 hours of education on all those aspects of managing, from nutrition, physical activity, to monitoring and medications.
Okay. And in terms of the class, like I know diabetes has a lot to do with your A1C, right? So does the class kind of help you look at like your A1C number, or like maybe how you can prevent complications from diabetes? Does it look at those things too?
Yes. So those 8 hours of education, we talk about monitoring. Monitoring as far as your A1C, if you're doing it at home, if you're using something called the continuous glucose monitor, which is those apparatus, if you're seeing them on people's arms now, that's becoming very popular. So yeah, we want to focus on the A1C because that's really the gold standard. If our A1C is within range, which typically for most people, it's going to be below 7%, that means you are reducing those long-term complications. Some of those long-term complications we're looking at could be kidney disease, retinopathy, nephropathy. And the reason is because I don't think a lot of people have made that connection that diabetes is a cardiovascular disease. And so we kind of do a deep dive into exactly what the diabetes is, or like what the disease is.
Okay. And some people might think, it's this 1 8-hour class, right? So does that mean it's like a cookie cutter, one size fits all kind of class? Is it like that, or is it kind of personalized a little bit more?
So with Adams County, we use something that's called a conversational map, where yes, it's going to be the same thing we're looking at on a screen, but the questions vary from all the participants. It's going to be more of a conversation, and that map kind of guides that conversation at certain points. But no, And once those 8 hours are done, you still have access to a dietitian like myself after the class. So we can meet one-on-one as well.
Amazing.
Mhm.
And so for listeners who might be interested in signing up for the program, what can they expect to learn about if they participate?
So like we mentioned with the monitoring, the
Mhm.
healthy eating, uh, exercise, medications, which I feel like a lot of people don't know exactly how their medications work, what their secondary effects are, and how to take them effectively. So we go into that. We also talk about those long-term complications. If we know what the complications are, there are things we can do to minimize that risk. And so we talk about that as well.
Okay. And when would you say is most helpful for people to sign up? Like, is it something after they're first diagnosed, once they've been living with it for a while? Or like, are there specific times that you recommend they take the class?
Yeah, we definitely want to make sure that you're taking it when you're first diagnosed.
Okay.
Secondly, if there's like a life-changing event. Another time you really want to take it is if you're not at goal.
Okay.
Yeah, those are times you want to take it.
Okay. And how would you describe like what a typical class looks like? Like who leads it? Are they in person? Are they virtual? What does that look
Yeah.
like?
So typically, somebody who's going to lead the class is going to be a certified diabetes care and education specialist, which I am, by the way, finally. And after that, you have to have another specialty. So dietitians, pharmacists, RNs, those are the people who typically lead these classes. And it's structured a little bit differently if you're doing it in person or virtually. In person, it's going to be about 2 hours. So we do an hour of a topic, take a little break, do a second hour. If we're doing it virtually, it's going to be about an hour for 8 weeks, but it's still kind of the same content.
Okay.
Mhm.
And what do you see as maybe some of the most common barriers or misconceptions that people have when they come into this class?
Oh, I think my favorite, and it's like, oh, I know that already, right? I know this. You probably did at some point. I know, I believe you. However, it is science, things change. So you need to be up to date with that stuff. So that's one of them. The other one, oh, it's going to be too expensive, right? But like I mentioned, thanks to grant funding, we can offer these programs for free. Other times it's time and commitment. We do offer these classes, once again, different times during the day, in person, virtually. And if maybe those 8 hours aren't really, doesn't work for your schedule, we can meet one-on-one.
Okay. Do you ever feel like people feel like there's maybe a stigma attached to having diabetes? And does
Yeah.
that like affect their wanting to take the class at all?
Yeah. I've had some people tell me, oh, I can't tell anybody that I have diabetes. They don't have that support. So you also get that support when you come to class because there's other people living with diabetes
Mhm.
that come here.
Awesome. Good to know you're not alone, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. And for anyone who might be wondering how they can sign up, what should they do?
One, definitely go onto our website, sign up for different classes there. You can reach us through phone or email.
Awesome. And just want to jump in real quick, share the website that you mentioned. It's adamscountyhealthdepartment.org. We'll put that direct link in the show notes to that to the class specifically, but you can find those classes by selecting programs and services and then clicking on stay informed under diabetes and heart health. I believe the phone number and the email will also be on that page.
Yes.
So that is the best way to get in touch, right?
Yeah. And if you have any questions there on our website, you have a button that says contact us. Write your question. We'll reach out to you.
Amazing. And one other thing, kind of just thinking of timing, considering that this episode is dropping right before Thanksgiving, it really has me wondering, do you have any tips as we head into the holiday season, particularly for healthy eating?
Yeah, absolutely. So my biggest tip is make sure that you make half of your plate vegetables. Okay. High fiber foods are going to be amazing for your blood sugars. Secondly, is to actually the way you eat your foods. Make sure you're eating your fiber first, your protein, and then your carbohydrates. Make sure you're balancing out your meals, and please do not skip your meals during the day to make sure that your evening meal is your biggest meal. Don't skip meals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. A lot of people think that might seem counterintuitive, but
Right.
it's not.
No. Mm.
Awesome. Well, before we sign off, is there anything else that you think is important for our residents to know?
Yeah, our classes are offered in English and Spanish. So that's
Okay.
very important.
Awesome. And I think one other thing that we had talked about a little bit is it's really about empowerment and not judgment, right?
Yes.
That's another good key thing to remember.
Yeah. A little tip that I got from another dietitian very, very long ago is I don't judge, I educate.
Yeah.
Right. And the more you know, the better decisions you can make in managing diabetes. It's not about being perfect, but about doing the best you can most of the time.
Awesome. Well, Maritza, thank you again for coming on the podcast and sharing all about the diabetes self-management education and support, or the DSMES class. Again, we like those acronyms. It's really been a pleasure chatting with you today. And I just really hope that this has been helpful for our residents who are living with or caring for someone who has diabetes. So as I mentioned earlier, the link to learn more about the DSMES class will be available in the show notes, and you can find more information at adamscountyhealthdepartment.org. So thank you all for tuning in. I'm Julie Jackson, Communications Supervisor at Adams County, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a wrap for this episode of All in Adams. Thank you for joining us as we explore the people, programs, and the policies that make Adams County a great place to live, work, and thrive. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe and share with your friends, neighbors, and colleagues. Have a topic you'd like us to cover? Let us know. We're all in for bringing you the stories that matter most. Until next time, take care of each other and stay connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, Nextdoor, and X. We're all in Adams, and we're all in for you.